Best way to stay healthy is by making sure you're putting the right things in your body, which is easier said than done when you're trying to figure out the right diet and supplements to take. Good news. Cardimax Immune Booster has you covered. Right now, American Party Podcast listeners get 30% off your next 4 orders. Use the promo code American at cardimax.com. That's CARDOMAX.com, helping you achieve your max. Don't tell me what to do. So today we have guest canceled, and Dakota lives like an hour away, so I figured we'll just have Cooper fill in since you wrote this anyways. Did the research. Actually, to be fair, Business Insider did the research.
Yeah.
We just transposed a lot of it, but it is very good research and very interesting as well. We're going to be talking about how corrupt Congress is, which is no surprise to anyone, but it is nice to see it in black and white from time to time. So you're not just saying, "Oh man, they're just a bunch of corrupt assholes." And people are like, "Well, what do you mean?" You're like, "Well, you know." Like, now we're going to give you some concrete examples of just how shitty these human beings are, if you even want to call them human beings. I prefer not to.
Well, this is sort of an addendum to the previous Congressional insider trading episode that you guys did.
Yeah. I mean, there was plenty of information in that one too, I guess, but this is going to be quite a bit more exhaustive of a list. For those who don't know, Cooper is the co-host of Iconoblast, which is a show on our network with Joel Hodge. Tell the audience about that show, what it is, and what you guys do over there.
Well, it's a history show. We do a deep dive into a lot of different topics, trying to find out the lesser-known facts behind stories that you think you know pretty well. And it's a decent excuse for Joel and I to get together and get drunk and talk shit to each other.
Sweet. Yeah, that makes sense. I enjoy drunk. What are some fucking topics you've covered lately?
The last topic we did, we covered some of the pilots from Pearl Harbor, George Welch and Kenneth Taylor. They were the first 2 pilots off the ground.
Which one was Ben Affleck in the movie?
I'm not sure which one he was supposed to be, but whoever he was supposed to be, he did not pull it off very well. We did a tangent episode about talking about Ben Affleck, and pretty much his entire story is that he was just a rich kid that had everything handed to him and then rode Matt Damon's coattails. But George Welch and Kenneth Taylor spent the entire fight wearing their dress mess from the night before. They stayed up until 6:30 in the morning drinking and then woke up at 7:55 when the first bomb started falling and just hopped in their planes and took off and started fucking up the Japanese.
Sweet. Well, yeah, that must have been pretty chaotic. I've been in plenty of gunfights, but none of them involved planes driving into me.
Yeah, well, also what surprised me about it is they had to have been so fucking hungover when that happened.
Yeah, no shit.
Or just still drunk from the night before.
And I don't want to get too far into it because that's not what we're doing here today, but wasn't there, didn't we have at least some advance notice that was going to happen?
Yeah, there's some stories that there were radar signatures that were seen, but they were ignored at the time. There was also a lot of really shitty pre-planning where a lot of the ships were put too close together for some reason. They knew that at some point an attack was going to happen, but they didn't prepare for it, which most likely has something to do with just needing an excuse to get into the war. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the Germans sinking our fucking ships carrying supplies to England should have been enough, you would think.
You would think so, but yeah, they had to piss off the rest of the American populace to justify getting full-blown into it.
Yeah, I mean, look, Japanese, right? Drop 2 bombs on people and all of a sudden they get friendly. I don't know what that's all about.
It seemed to work pretty well, though.
Yeah, it sure as shit did. It's because all of human society respects strength more than anything else.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Whether it's somebody who's overcoming some adversity or someone who's an authoritarian. The reason that authoritarian governments not only happen but flourish so frequently is because people respect authority. Now, they go too far, right? And the human instinct is to buck that. So there's revolution as well. But the only reason it happens in the first place, it isn't because certain people are just crazy or anything. There's despots that aren't crazy for sure. Mm-hmm. They're just behaving in the way that they were conditioned to behave. Anyways.
Yeah, at the end of the day, everybody understands getting punched in the nose.
Yeah, exactly. It's like fucking dogs, right? Yeah. They although, we do find that they, over time, respond better to positive stimulus rather than negative, but negative is where you start.
Yeah.
Mike Ritland will tell you that. He taught me that. There's another story before we get into this one that's fucking hilarious, and I don't want to pass it up. FBI officials had sex with prostitutes while overseas, Inspector General investigation finds. Look, man, I know that it's technically against the rules for the FBI and Department of Justice to do that shit, but when in Rome, brother, I mean, what's the fucking point of even going to Brazil if you're not going to buy hookers? That's the whole point. Brazil sucks.
I feel like that's a perk of the job.
Yeah, also, I don't remember who it was. Some comedian told a story back in the day, but basically, to keep things family friendly in the resorts, the hotel staff sends security through the entire building. You have to check your hooker in to the hotel, and then they come around at 6 a.m. and kick them out.
Oh,
so they don't bump into families and shit while they're moving around.
That's actually really convenient.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, the difference is they make sure that the hookers get paid and shit. So I guess they're kind of like a quasi pimp. Right? They have to be getting something in exchange for that, you would think.
Yeah, I would think so.
At any rate, in addition to violating the Bureau's policy surrounding commercial sex, I like that. One agent additionally failed to report that he had provided a foreign police officer a, quote, package containing approximately 100 white pills. The report didn't say what they were, but noted the FBI official lacked candor when the individual denied observing or placing pills in a package to a foreign officer. So my guess is the local cop got him some pills and then he gave them back to him when he was leaving, or gave them to him to dispose of or some shit, I guess. I don't know. Why else you would be giving a local your drugs? That doesn't even make any sense. Either way, the lesson here is to pay your prostitutes so they don't report you.
Absolutely.
Don't go, like the Secret Service has done this before. Now it's the Department of Justice, right? The Secret Service got popped for this in like 2013 or 13. Yeah, I think it was 13. I think it happened in 13 and they got popped in 16 or some shit.
Yeah, I think I remember hearing about that.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's Jerry Springer, who wrote a personal check that bounced to a prostitute while he was the mayor of Cincinnati.
Yeah, I was going to say that was while he was a mayor also. He got his own TV show out of it, though.
Yeah, it's fair. I mean, honestly, the net result of that was probably positive for Jerry Springer. But, hope's not a game plan. I wouldn't count on that happening.
Well, it seems like the Secret Service has a pretty long history of some hard partying because of the Secret Service members that were guarding JFK were fucking hammered.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, there was one of the president's OICs. Let's see, what year was that? 2011, maybe? Got shit-faced at his retirement party and drove through the front barricade at the White House. He crashed his car into the fucking barricade at the White House because he was shit-faced. So, yeah, I guess they party.
Yeah.
That's fine. Just be responsible. That's why How to Drink and Do Drugs Like an Adult is a book that I'm very passionate about. I'm working on it now.
It's a very important lesson.
I agree. There's the guy, that dude that does, the Columbia professor that does recreational heroin, he wrote one, but it's like he's trying to take it super seriously, and it's very irritating.
I have never seen anybody that's been capable of doing recreational heroin.
Yeah, he says he does. I mean, how would you know, right?
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, I guess if he's not nodding off in the middle of a conversation, it's a pretty good sign.
Yeah. All right, so let's get to the actual fucking conversation that's brought us here today, which is our conflicted Congress, or more so, I guess, that they have conflicts of interest. Business Insider has spent the previous 5 months putting together an investigative report which chronicles the many ways members of U.S. House and Senate have violated ethical standards. The investigation reviewed nearly 9,000 financial disclosure reports for every sitting lawmaker and their top-ranking staffers, as well as conducting hundreds of interviews with some of the nation's most powerful leaders. Insider published more than 24 articles and data visualizations that, and we'll put that in the description here, so you can click that link and look at them later. But they published more than 24 articles and data visualizations that revealed the extent of ethical violations taking place in the government. An overview. This is a quick overview, and then we'll get into some specifics about people that you know and love. And when I say love, I mean you think they're cunts, probably, because if you are watching this show, then you probably think that politicians are cunts, honestly. Otherwise, you just enjoy hearing the word cunt a lot, which is fair, I guess.
Yeah, if you don't think they're all cunts, you're not paying attention.
Yeah, that's fair enough, yeah. Well, here we go. So, 48 members of Congress and 182 senior-level congressional staffers have violated federal conflict of interest laws. So, let's see. There's 435 people in Congress, right? 438? 438. Yeah. Now, I think next time there's going to be more. So let's see. That is 11% of Congress. We have hard evidence that they've violated the ethics law. That's just the Congress people themselves, not their staffers.
And those are just the ones that got caught.
Yes, correct. Yep. So 11%. I guess where there's smoke, there's fire is a phrase that pops into my mind.
It fits pretty well here.
If 10% of any organization were unethical, like when the what's it called, the Mitchell report came out about steroids in baseball, it was like right around the same, right? Which means there was rampant fucking use, and that was the presumption. If you do a sample study and there's a 10% positive rate, then you've got AIDS, brother. That's how that fucking works. I'm not a doctor or anything. The doctor's out today. But that is and I know it's 538 including Senate, but yeah, this is only Congress, not including the Senate. Anyways, 48 of those motherfuckers. So nearly 75, right around 75, there's 73 federal lawmakers. That includes Senate and House, held stocks in COVID-19 vaccine producers, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, or Pfizer in 2020, with many of them buying or selling these stocks in the early weeks of the pandemic.
And that was something that was discussed on that insider trading episode, that they had advanced knowledge of what was going to happen and just used that to line their fucking pockets.
15 lawmakers responsible for, and by the way, this is just personally held assets. This is not campaign contributions. This doesn't include any of that shit. It doesn't include Moderna and Johnson & Johnson and Pfizer and Apple and Google and Facebook donating to political campaigns to influence elections. This is just what the Congress people and senators themselves own. That's it. All right. So 15 lawmakers responsible for shaping U.S. defense policy. That is to say, people that are on defense committees, one way or another, defense or intelligence committees, are actively invested in military contractors. Oops.
I thought that was one of the more egregious ones.
That's
because
pretty rough.
That's something that can get a lot of other people killed.
Yeah, it's. I've got a theory that I don't know if it's really a theory so much as a widely held belief, maybe among people like me. But the military contracting thing is probably what prolonged the war so much. Just the amount, because we had never had that before. The military-industrial complex had existed before, and engineering and manufacturing, definitely it's a boon for them. But then it was a boon for people that did security work. So all these professional soldiers we had just spent, years creating, they can leave the military service. We put more people in the military service, and those people that left the military service now can get paid, 15 times more to do the same job. And all the while, these assholes who started these companies are taking a little scrape off of it, right? So, and apparently 15 of the people on defense and intelligence committees all own stock in those companies, which seems rough. That seems really bad, to be honest, because we've been at war for a long, long time. Over a dozen self-proclaimed environmentalist Democrats are invested in fossil fuel companies. or other corporations that have really bad environmental track records. That's not. I mean, it's probably what, let's just say it's a dozen environmentalist Democrats. Democrats are half of the 538. This is stupid. It's like another 10, or it's another. That's what, 5%. About 5% of the Democrats as a whole. So you reduce that to whatever the environmentalist Democrats are. So it's probably like 8%. Again, smoke and fire. But that's not news either, because every time they have one of these climate summits, they all fly there on their private jets and they just burn Bibles and U.S. currency while they're fucking doing it. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Numerous members of Congress publicly criticized the media while privately investing in at least one of the nation's largest news, media, or social media companies. Now, being a congressperson or a senator being invested in Facebook and Twitter, I guess that's one thing. I think that's bad because they influence policy that affect those companies. And I don't think if you're an elected official, you should be allowed to own any stock in anything. You should have to sell everything before you get there, and then you can buy shit later if you want.
Well, I think legally they're supposed to put it all in a blind trust, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, I mean, a blind trust is like the political wall between the candidate side and the fucking issues side, right? Like, technically speaking, once the campaign starts, the people that run PACs are not allowed to talk to the campaign itself. But that is fucking nonsense, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, that law gets broken face to face every single day. So.
Yeah, it's hard to track also.
Yeah. That's one thing. I don't think they should be invested in anything. And the social media companies is something we all know about. But Comcast, Disney, and the New York Times, if you're an elected official and use the news to put out your message and you own the news, that's a fucking problem.
Yeah.
Like Bloomberg, for example.
Just turns into propaganda at that point,
Yeah, well,
which is what it is now.
That's what we get primarily is propaganda from these assholes. Next up, the Insider Report also rates every member of Congress on a 3-tier scale, ranging from green, yellow, to red. Green, I assume, means no dodgy dealings. Yellow means you've got some weird-looking shit. And red means you're an absolute fucking asshole.
Yeah.
That'd be my guess.
There's one person that isn't on that red list that I was very surprised about, but we'll talk about that once we get into it.
Oh, yeah, Pelosi was yellow.
Yeah, I cannot fucking believe
Well, that's because maybe they're not counting what her husband owns, but she's like, there's demonstrable shit from her just in the last 6 months.
Yeah. For some of the other people that are on the list, they do count deals that their spouses have made. So I have no idea how.
Maybe Pelosi owns stock in Business Insider. To be honest, who owns Business Insider?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually.
Axel Springer SE. Do any of you fucking super sleuths out there? That's a German company, by the way. Do any of you super sleuths out there want to look up Axel Springer SE and see who might own stock in that company? Because that company also owns Politico. And we'll go back to the chat here in a little bit to discuss that.
KKR & Co. is an American global investment company.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to be the majority shareholder, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, Kohlberg, Kravis, Roberts.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, you can look into that too. Let's see who else they own. They own a lot of stuff. Holy shit. They own Gibson Guitars. What the fuck? Fred Meyer Grocery Store.
Fred Meyers are still open?
I guess. A bunch of pharmaceutical companies. Shit.
Politico.
Yeah, Politico. Cardenas. Weird. Fucking. It's a weird fucking group of shit, but yeah. Politico, Business Insider, a bunch of pharmaceutical companies, a bunch of energy companies, a bunch of real estate and credit companies. Odd that company owns fucking 2 media companies. By the way, one's Politico and Business Insider that are by and large seen as not that biased one way or the other. Interesting that a fucking company that owns energy companies, private equity, and pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
Very bizarre.
Slightly suspect.
The
Jesus Christ, man.
one of the main owners of KKR was fundraiser for Bush and McCain, and a major contributor to H.W. Bush's reelection campaign as well.
There. Well, that was fucking 1992.
And he contributed $1 million to Trump's presidential inauguration.
Ooh, there we go. To his inauguration. What is that? What does that mean?
I think
he bought the balloons?
Celebration, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, no surprise there. When I say all politicians are cunts, I mean all. That's why it's the first word in the fucking phrase. Pay close attention, folks. We're moving fast here. The first part of the report details the financial investments of the 14 lawmakers who received a red danger rating for violating the Stock Act or not taking steps to avoid conflicts of interest. Horrified that Pelosi's not in this list, to be honest.
Me too. It just doesn't make sense.
She's violated the Stock Act within the last couple of months. We have the evidence has already been demonstrated for that. So that's kind of weird. We'll find out if her or her husband Paul own any part of this KKR company and report back to you. I would not be surprised if they or friends own part of that company. Senator Dianne Feinstein. Shocked to hear this. By the way,
I'm shocked that she only has one violation.
Yeah, nobody has milked Harvey Milk more than this woman right here. For those of you that don't know, she was present when he got murdered in the San Francisco fucking city hall by Josh Brolin, I believe it was. Well, he played him. I don't know who the fucking guy's name was.
That was Thanos' first body.
Yeah, he's stacking. Well, I don't know.
It's amazing that his career bounced back so well.
I'm sure Josh Brolin killed a number of people before that, but anyways, yeah, Josh Brolin killed Dianne Feinstein. Wait, it's not right. We're going to get fact-checked. Yeah, so she was there, and then she used that as her reference to gun violence for years, trying to get guns taken away, mostly in the 90s, but again in the early 2000s. Stupid bitch. Anyways, Democrat from California, you all know who she is. She's violated the Stock Act with one late disclosure totaling at least $15,000. She claimed she paid the applicable fines, but did not provide any proof of payment. By the way, Congress fines itself all the time. There's no fucking way. That's like a kangaroo court fine where it all goes into a pool and you buy a keg at the end of the semester, right? There's no fucking way they're paying this money to anybody. By the way, the U.S. government collected more taxes this year than any year in history. We've already collected, I think it was $540 billion in taxes this year.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's a lot. Seems like a lot. Anyways, let's see. 3 senior staff members working under Feinstein have also been found to have violated the Stock Act. That's where a lot of it takes place, too. It's not with the family members. It's with employees and shit like that.
Yeah.
Which is stupid. They don't know how to do cutouts. They should really learn. Feinstein was also investigated in 2020 as part of the Department of Justice investigation into multiple senators accused of using classified information related to the pandemic to prevent financial losses. Now, they didn't have anything more about this, but she definitely dumped stock in that week.
Yeah.
From January 20th to February the 6th.
Yeah.
That period. A bunch of people dumped a fuckload of stock.
Yeah, a bunch of them picked up stock in companies like 3M and pharmaceutical companies.
Yep. But I wonder if Business Insider withheld some things because they're worried about getting censored the way that the New York Post did when they put that Hunter Biden laptop story out.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
Some stuff that this is obvious it happened, but if we were in a court of law, maybe we couldn't defend that position. Maybe, I don't know, who knows. Anyways, Representative Kim Schreier, a Democrat from Washington, violated the Stock Act with one late disclosure totaling at least $500,001. She provided proof of payment or a resolution of any applicable fines. By the way, the reason they consider this red is because when your disclosure is late, that means you were hiding stuff and backdating. There's no reason for it to be late other than that. You cannot be incompetent enough for this to be late because they send you notice after notice, and then they wouldn't put you in the red until you got a final notice to turn in your shit.
Yeah, and I mean, some of these disclosures came up to 2 years late.
Yeah. Sean Patrick Maloney, Democrat from New York, violated the Stock Act with 8 late disclosures, totaling at least $11,051. He refused to comment or respond to inquiries about paying the applicable fines.
Which pretty much just means that he didn't pay.
Yeah. Representative Lance Gooden, in case you thought we were picking on people, a Republican from Texas, violated the Stock Act with 12 late disclosures, totaling at least $60,000. He refused to comment.
I have a couple more KKR connections real quick, if you
Cool.
want them.
Yeah, update.
David Petraeus was chairman of the board
That's
for
Obama's boy.
No
KKR
shit.
Global Institute, 2013 to present. And the youngest SEC commissioner ever, Joseph Grundfest, also on there, worked for them. And then Malcolm Turnbull, Prime Minister of Australia from 2015 to 2018.
Damn.
So it might not be as unbiased as it seems on the surface.
So the prime minister of a country was on the board, or is rather on the board, of a company that owns news agencies.
That seems like it should be illegal.
Maybe. I don't know. Fuck do I know? By the way, David Petraeus is Obama's boy. Like they're pretty tight. Not that Obama's involved in anything shady, except for being married to a dude.
Yeah. Turnbull is a senior advisor to them. So
that doesn't mean shit. Senior advisor means, hey, Malcolm, could you get the law changed, please? They're taking our monies. Another Republican, Representative Chris Jacobs, Republican from New York, violated the Stock Act with 12 late payments and disclosures totaling at least $356,000. He refused to comment. One senior staff member working under Jacobs was also found to have violated the Stock Act. So that's a lot. Representative Kevin Hearn from Oklahoma violated the Stock Act with 25 late payments. Disclosures totaling with 25 late disclosures totaling at least $1,072,000. That seems like a lot as well. He refused to comment. Representative Dan Muser, Republican, Pennsylvania, violated the Stock Act with 36 late disclosures totaling at least $120,036. He claimed that he's paid any applicable fines under the Stock Act, but has not provided proof of the payments. Representative Blake Moore, Republican, Utah, violated the Stock Act with 76 late disclosures, totaling at least $76,000. He must have a lot of small businesses or some shit.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Or he's in crypto? I don't know what the fuck this is. He provided proof of payment and or resolution of any applicable fines after being caught, of course. One senior staff member working under Moore was also found to have violated the Stock Act. Man, this is just a fucking laundry list of cunts.
Surprising number of Republicans also.
Why would that be surprising?
Well, I mean, just it seems to be skewing more in that direction. I figured it would kind of be split down the middle.
Well, you know, lefties are better at getting away with it, maybe.
Yeah.
Representative Pat Fallon, a Republican from Texas. Let's find out where Pat Fallon is a Congress person, because Pat's androgynous. And so we can let that part of Texas know not to vote for this piece of shit ever again. Violated the Stock Act with 118 late disclosures, totaling at least $9,113,000.
Jesus.
Fallon claimed that he has paid any applicable fines, but has not provided proof.
He's Northeast Texas.
Northeast, what the fuck is up there? It's all hellbillies, right?
Yeah, it's like he touches Texarkana, that type of shit.
What the fuck is Texarkana?
That's exactly what it sounds like.
Oh, boy. So the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
That sucks. Well, if you're from the Texarkana area, stop by and tell that dude to go fuck himself. But also maybe ask for $10 because he seems like he's pretty well loaded. Senator Tommy Tuberville, which is a stupid name.
Sounds like a fake name.
Yeah, it sounds like a fucking porn name. My name's Tommy Tubes. From Alabama, which, who the fuck knows, man? Violated the Stock Act with 132 late disclosures totaling at least $894,000. He claimed he paid the fines. No proof. Representative Tom Malinowski, Democrat from New Jersey, violated the Stock Act with 145 late disclosures totaling $845,000. He claims they paid the fines, provided no proof. Representative Susie Lee, Democrat from Nevada, violated the Stock Act with over 200 late disclosures totaling at least $267,000. Refused to comment. There's a couple more. Tom, I have no idea how to say this name. Suozzi, maybe? Yeah. Democrat from New York violated the Stock Act with approximately 300 late disclosures.
300 fucking late disclosures.
Totaling at least $3.2 million. Refused to comment.
Now, this last one, Harshbarger, she really takes the cake, but surprisingly small amount of money.
Yeah, it's only, well, look, she's just forgetful maybe. Republican from Tennessee violated the Stock Act with 728 late disclosures, totaling at least $728,000. She refused to comment.
How do you forget to do something 728 times?
How can
you ever make an excuse for that?
I don't know. I mean, frankly, not doing stuff is the easiest thing you'll ever do. But when it's like, if there's anything that would cause you immediate discomfort, usually people will avoid that, right? Like you're not gonna do something wildly stupid right in front of a police officer. You may do it when he's down the street a little bit or when you're unawares, but you certainly wouldn't do it right in front of the guy unless you're an idiot. These people seem to be doing it. I mean, this stuff is not hard to find. These are all public records. Mm-hmm. Like anytime there's a violation, you can look it up on the internet that day. As a matter of fact, you could probably set a Google alert to let you know anytime a violation gets put on one of these websites. If you knew how to manipulate Google the right way.
Something that does make it difficult is one of the amendments to the Stock Act made it so they didn't have to provide digital copies of their disclosures. It's all on paper. So somebody has to actually physically go and put all of these together because there's no federally run searchable database for all of this information.
Well, maybe we should, instead of spending money to fight climate change, we should spend money to fight the people that are robbing us blind right now.
But while they're in charge of policing themselves.
Yeah. Hey, did you pay that fine? Yeah, I've looking paid it. Yeah, interesting. Weird, wild stuff. Let me do some ads, and we'll get back to this. First up is ghostbed.com/Drinking Bros. If you don't own a ghost bed, then I don't know that there's any hope left for you. I just don't think there is. But there's hope. You can buy one today. See what I did there? None of that made any fucking sense. Right now, GhostBed is offering 40% off their bundles where you get a mattress and adjustable base. Everything else is 30% off using the code Drinking Bros at ghostbed.com/Drinking Bros. You can buy a mattress for like $35 a month, $35 to $38 a month if you get some extra shit. They have a 0 down, 0% financing plan for up to 60 months. They get the best pillows, the best mattresses, the best adjustable base. Love their sheets. The mattress topper, if you've got a mattress already, you're just looking to soften it up a little bit. And it's a cooling device as well. So go to ghostbed.com/Drinking Bros and check out that shit.
I've been hoping that GhostBed starts making dog beds. I got a dog that's developing arthritis in her back legs, and the foam sleeping pad that I have for her just isn't working.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. We could probably get them to make one, I guess. Ghost dog beds.
Got an inside connection there.
Yeah, I'll look into that. Next up is Amazon Music. So you're going to want to go to Amazon.com/American. And here's why. You listen to the show, you obviously listen to podcasts. Amazon's a good place to do that. And I don't like having a bunch of separate audio playing apps on my phone. Like I have to, but it's really annoying. And I run into these stupid problems all the time where I plug it into my car or turn it on and it hooks up to my speaker. And all of a sudden it starts playing some shit that I was listening to before, which I don't necessarily want to do in front of other people, right?
Well, yeah, it can be embarrassing when Aqua starts playing through your speakers when you have somebody in your car.
That's right, yeah. So I like to focus on just one. I think Amazon, just like Prime, has the best fucking selection of shit. There's not one song I've ever looked for that I couldn't find on Amazon, and even like SoundCloud and shit. If it's people put weird shit on Sound, I've never looked for anything that I could only find on SoundCloud, right? But it isn't just for podcasts. Everybody knows that. They have thousands of music stations, top playlists to stream for free. One of the things they do is when you search for and then select an artist, you can go to their body of work, or you can start a channel based on their body of work, which will find other bands and songs like the one that you selected and just build a playlist out of it.
Sort of like what Spotify does, but better.
Better, yeah. Spotify's not great at it. They are great at producing a little fucking stupid PDF thing. Oh, post this on the internet. And people are fucking dumb. That shit is so annoying.
I'm not a fan of Spotify.
No, neither am I. Let's see. They have thousands of music stations and top playlists to stream for free. And no matter what you're listening to, you can always go hands-free with Alexa. If you're like me and want your music on demand and ad-free, which I do, I can't deal with that. I'll break the phone in half and throw it through a fucking window. You have to try Amazon Music Unlimited. I've been subscribed to this for like fucking 8 years now, ever since they came out with it. It gives you unlimited access to about over 75 million songs. You can listen to any song you want. It's unlimited skips and stuff like that. You don't have to deal with any of that bullshit. It's also not very expensive. So if you've never tried Amazon Music Unlimited, now's a great time to do it. For a limited time, new customers can try Amazon Music Unlimited free for 3 months. No credit card required. Just go to Amazon.com/American Party. That's Amazon.com/American Party to try Amazon Music Unlimited free for 3 months. Amazon.com/American Party, and renews automatically. You can cancel anytime. Terms do apply. And again, that's American Party/American Party. Amazon.com/American Party. All right. Back to these thieving bitches.
So now we're going to get into the congressional staff violations, which are the employees that are pulling the same shit that their bosses are doing.
Yeah. This is, we could do that show for the next 6 months and never get done with it, but
even all the information that was in this episode, that's leaving out a lot because it's, a total of like 12 articles.
Adam Hester says, I love this show. It's like Squid Game, except there's cum.
That's a reference to one of the episodes that we did on Iconoblast.
I see. Guess I should be paying closer attention to what's getting published on the network. So here's some quick. I'm going to buzz through some of these because we're getting long in the tooth here. At least 182 high-ranking congressional staffers have been found to be in violation of a federal conflict of interest law with overdue disclosure of their personal stock trades. One ethics watchdog stated that a lot of people just ignore the law and it goes unenforced. Well, that's what happens when you pay fines to your fucking self.
Yeah, and they're in charge of enforcing it on themselves. So, inside that group, they're not going to be ratting out their friends, because then their friends are going to rat them out.
And you would think that, well, why doesn't a Republican go after all the Democrats when he's in office, or vice versa? Because they're all stealing from you. That's why.
It's also mutually assured destruction. If one side starts pulling that shit, then it's going to ruin the scam for everybody.
Maybe I should run for Congress and then just do that. Just fucking tear these people apart. That would be fun. The tally includes both the House and the Senate, with high-ranking jobs such as chiefs of staff, legislative directors, and communications directors. Those are like the top 3 positions on a campaign staff or a political staff. High-ranking staffers often have significant influence over their bosses. Everybody knows that. A lot of the information that comes into and out of political office is the chief of staff and the communications director specifically. Those two people, the chief of staff and communications director for the president are two of the most powerful people in the country.
And those are unelected positions, right?
Correct, yeah. I think West Wing did a bit on that, where Leo McGarry kind of assumed the power of the president for when the 25th got invoked when Homeboy was under anesthesia or some shit, and that might have been a bit of a problem. Or no, he got shot. Yeah, that's right. Anyways, the late reporting problem is decidedly bipartisan, and on the staffer side, it's pretty much evenly split. They're saying. Watchdog groups say the number of late filings is evidence lacks attitude on Capitol Hill with regard to ethics rules. Of course it is. Nobody gives a shit about this. Compounding the problem is a secretive enforcement process where both lawmakers and their staff work out any breaches of the law in private.
And to me, that is just so fucking ridiculous. How can you expect them to punish themselves?
They vote on the Stock Act, like in 2013, I think, or something like that. It wasn't that long ago that this.
I think it was 2012.
Yeah, we talked about it on the other show.
Yeah.
But it was like within the next year, I think. Yeah, so in 2013, they fucking added this provision where they basically work it out amongst themselves, I guess, for lack of a better phrase.
They amended it so the entire Stock Act just doesn't fucking mean anything anymore.
Few are open with the public about why they failed. Insider reached out to 48 staffers whose trades appeared to be disclosed at the latest as well, and the most frequent, 34 of them didn't even fucking respond, or weren't forthcoming about their disclosures. Some who provided information about why they were late claimed they forgot or misunderstood the deadlines, while others blamed their financial advisor or spouse.
It's like they say, it's easier to ask for permission than it is, or it's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is to ask for permission.
Yeah. Douglas Coutts, Coutts, maybe. Chief of Staff for Senator Tom Cotton appeared to be late disclosing numerous trades in 2020, each valued between $1,001 and $15,000. No surprise there. Tom Cotton he's a moralist. Those people are always into some weird shit. At least one document shows Coutts disclosed some trades nearly 2 months past federally mandated deadline. It listed trades with insurance provider Chubb Unlimited, Google's parent company Alphabet. And what's Tom Cotton saying about Google in public? Not much. The healthcare company Abbott Labs, which is known for its COVID-19 testing capabilities.
Yeah, and publicly, Tom Cotton has been critical of the big tech companies.
Yeah. May want to look on your staff there, buddy. His boss sits on the Judiciary Committee, which has scrutinized large tech companies like Google over antitrust concerns. Another example of a staffer being late in disclosing a particular large number of trades is Julie Leschke, the deputy chief of staff for Republican Senator Ron Johnson. Leschke and her husband appeared to be more than 2 years late, reporting at least 12 stock trades in companies that included Facebook, Amazon, and Alibaba, the Chinese version of Amazon.
It's a larger company than Amazon, isn't it?
By a factor of about 3, I think. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Johnson's office attributed late filing to a change in reporting requirements. Changed by whom? By you stupid fuck. You guys made the rules and you enforce them. Like, I changed the rules on myself and lost track of time, man. What kind of fucking excuse is that? These people are goddamn retards. Here we go. Elon G says, damn it, I like Tom Cotton. There's your fucking problem right there, buddy. These people are cunts.
Yeah, I don't think he should be liking any of them.
Yeah, it is improper. You treat fucking politicians the same way you treat umpires and referees, with disdain and mistrust. God damn it, man. Rooting for politicians is like showing up. All these fucking people that are crazy about Trump. I understand that he upset the fucking swampy bullshit that goes on to some degree. I mean, he's full of shit himself as well, but I understand he did that. But he's just a guy doing some shit. Like, you don't have to fucking worship these people. They're politicians. They're umpires. They're referees. Fuck them.
Yeah,
man,
I mean,
God damn it.
They're not celebrities or, I mean, even morally upstanding, like, bastions of hope. They're just fucking... They're sociopaths that are looking for power to line their own pockets.
Pretty much, yeah.
You just got to look for the lesser of two evils.
Well, yeah, I've grown pretty tired of that. Here's some particularly... The next two categories are particularly egregious because they involve life and death and liberty. Not just money. This isn't just people bilking money. This is... Well, we'll start with COVID trading. Dozens of Republican and Democrat lawmakers have invested in companies that have a direct stake in the response to the COVID pandemic. As a matter of fact, Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson are both in the list of top 10 most invested in companies by Congress.
Yeah, there's actually
Alphabet, Facebook are also on there.
There's multiple websites where you can actually track the investments of
OpenSecrets.org is a good one, yeah.
Yeah, and if you started making the same investments as Nancy Pelosi 10 years ago, you'd be a millionaire.
Yeah, yep. It's weird, man. She's just really good, I guess.
And I still can't believe that she didn't come up on that list.
Well, she's on the yellow side, so maybe she'll make it up to red someday. Maybe she'll see that as a personal challenge. Article. All right. So, in 2020, at least 13 senators and 35 U.S. representatives, so 13% of the U.S. Senate, held shares of Johnson & Johnson, the pharmaceutical company behind producing the COVID vaccine that more than 15 million Americans have received. At least 11 senators and 34 representatives also held shares of Pfizer in 2020. And 2 representatives or their spouses held shares in Moderna the year that the lockdown started.
And have you also noticed how many media outlets are sponsored by Pfizer now? Almost every fucking news show starts with sponsored by Pfizer.
Well, while we're on that subject, I just want to reiterate something I said yesterday on Drinking Bros. Newsmax has a vaccine mandate for its company and is firing people for it. So let's not pretend like there's some fucking bastion of liberty or libertarian ideals or any of that bullshit. And Fox News is now running advertisements made by the government for this new vaccine for 5+-year-olds, right? And what we know is that it is far more likely for a 5 to 18-year-old kid to end up in the hospital from myocarditis than it is from fucking COVID.
Yeah.
Period. There's no more fucking research to be done on that. And Fox News is taking the money from the U.S. government to run these fucking propaganda ads. So fuck you. I don't want to hear this shit anymore about fair and balanced. You can suck my fair and balanced dick. It is very perfectly balanced. If I set it on the edge of my head, it's like Thanos with that knife. Lawmakers held these investments in COVID-minded companies as Congress was at the center of pandemic relief efforts in 2020 and 2021. Members of Congress voted on 6 relief bills, together worth nearly $6 trillion, as much as the Iraq War. Congress also authorized more than $10 billion to help drug companies develop and distribute the vaccines and force health insurers to cover the cost of getting the shot. The investors in vaccines included Representative Marie Newman, Democrat from Illinois, whose husband, Jim Newman, not Randy. It would have been funnier if it was Randy Newman. Jim Newman has traded shares of both Johnson & Johnson and Moderna. Her 2020 annual personal financial disclosure also listed the couple together holding shares in Moderna. Representative Josh Gottheimer, Democrat from New Jersey, was the only other lawmaker who held stock in Moderna, which he sold up to $15,000 worth of shares in May of 2020. Republican lawmakers who publicly opposed COVID vaccine mandates privately invested in vaccine manufacturers. Vivian Scott, the wife of Representative Austin Scott, traded up to $50,000 worth of J&J. Austin Scott, another last Scott family, Republican from Georgia, has criticized Biden's workplace vaccine mandates, but stressed that he supports vaccines, particularly given that he had COVID in 2020. So,
now, do you think that that's just him pandering to his constituents? Because I would think that it would be more in his interest if he were publicly supporting the vaccine mandates, but he's just worried about losing his position if he does that.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. Representative Mo Brooks of Alabama sold up to $50,000 worth of Pfizer stock in August of 21 and was then nearly a month late filing his disclosure. Martha Brooks, the congressman's wife, claimed that she had handled all the family's stock investments and used an investment broker to conduct these transactions. So you're using the fucking Peyton Manning defense. That HGH was for my wife, man. Don't look at my head. Nuh-uh. Blur my head out on TV. You can't see my skull growing.
Well, that's like the same excuse that Nancy Pelosi was using when they were making all those tech trades. It was her husband doing it, and they never discussed that beforehand. A multi-million-dollar purchase they didn't discuss beforehand.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know that he was going to do that because, I mean, I told him all the information to make the decision. I just didn't know he was actually going to do it. Fuck. That's crazy. Fucking cunts. Let's see. Democratic lawmakers also invested in COVID-sensitive companies, including through selling and buying stocks in companies deeply involved with pandemic relief efforts. So Representative John Yarmouth, a Kentucky Democrat who chairs the House Budget Committee, sold up to $15,000 worth of stock in 3M, which creates and distributes personal protective equipment such as N95 masks at the end of March. Although I don't know why he would have sold it.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of strange, too. I figured he would want to hold on to that for a little while.
Yeah. Like most members of Congress, he has not placed his assets in what's known as a qualified blind trust, which is a formal arrangement in which lawmakers transfer management of their assets to an independent trustee. So let's just say, and it can't be an immediate family member, right?
Because that's what Trump got in trouble for,
Yeah.
because he put it in the hands of his son.
Yeah. But it can be like your fucking cousin or your business partner. It's fucking stupid, dude. They make these rules like, oh, we got it under control. It's called the Nobody's Ever Going to Commit a Crime Again Act. And, oh, what's in it? What's in it? That sounds great, man. What's in that? I don't know. Let's sign it so we can see what's in it. And then you sign it and see what's in it, and it's like free for all. Fuck you. Jesus Christ, these people are idiots. Now on, and again, that's people trading, and there were a lot more. A lot of Congress dumped stock in, this is just stuff that's COVID related, but a lot of Congress dumped non-COVID related stock in February and March, like fucking millions and millions of dollars worth of stock so they wouldn't take hits.
Yeah, they were also buying up a lot of stock in companies that were producing software for like remote desktops and things like that, because they knew that there was going to be all this socially distancing stuff going on, and that was going to be blowing up, which it did.
Okay, that's COVID. Now we're going to move on to defense, which is this defense industrial complex and not the needs of our country or the country we're in are responsible for decades of war. At least 15 lawmakers who hold powerful positions on a pair of House and Senate committees that control U.S. military policy have financial ties to prominent defense contractors that were together worth nearly $1 million in 2020. Some of the weapons manufacturers and defense technology developers appearing in the committee members' financial disclosures were Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Raytheon, Honeywell, and General Electric. Cunts. Although Honeywell does a lot. GE and Honeywell do a lot of things that are not military related. I would say actually the primary shit they do is not military related. Honeywell makes fucking servers and shit. They also happen to make guidance systems for missiles.
Yeah, and General Electric, aren't they the ones that make the motors for the Gauss cannons?
Yeah. But it's GE. They also make fucking refrigerators.
Light bulbs.
I mean? Yeah. Some of the weapons are, I'm sorry, read that already. All these are companies that annually spend millions of dollars lobbying federal government to influence elected officials, shape policy, and win government contracts. That is all true. Lawmakers with investments riding on defense contractors' well-being include seasoned Capitol Hill veterans and Washington newcomers. So we'll see who have been around for a while and who didn't take any amount of time to corrupt. Atop the list is 16-term Jim Cooper, Democrat from Tennessee, who chairs the House Panel's Strategic Forces Subcommittee. Cooper reported owning up to $65,000 worth of stock in General Electric, up to $50,000 worth of it in tax-favored individual retirement account, and up to $15,000 worth held in a brokerage account established for one of his children.
The kid he likes the most.
Yeah. I mean, this is the same way that Peter Thiel was able. His first big hit came in an IRA. He invested it and can't touch it until it matures, unless he wants to pay all the taxes. But if he leaves it until it matures, the billions of dollars will be tax-free, essentially.
God.
Yeah. Not the worst plan ever. And that's reductive, by the way, so you stock people out there, I don't want to hear it. Nobody in this fucking audience, except for like 3 people, understand the complexities of all that. So shut the fuck up. Democratic reps Joe Courtney of Connecticut and Mickey Sherrill
think it's Mikey Sherrill.
That's a stupid fucking name.
Yeah, it is.
Mikey, M-I-K-I-E? What are you, a child? Or is that a woman? Anyways.
I'm not sure.
They both reported briefly owning defense-related stocks during 2020. Courtney's in his 8th term and chairs the House's panel on sea power and projections forces.
Oh, it is a woman, so it's probably Mickey.
Mickey, that's stupid. Mickey is a 2nd-term lawmaker and considered a more junior member of the Armed Services Committee. So she's both reported they had since divested themselves of the individual stock holdings and diversified their portfolios by investing in mutual funds or exchange trade funds. That's means, I've been caught, and now I'm not going to do this anymore. And keep a close eye on that Mickey Sherrill, or whatever her fucking name is, because it didn't take very long to get her on the tit, did it?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. The wife of Democratic Representative Ro Khanna of California, Ritu Khanna, invested up to several $100,000 in a collection of defense contractor stocks at some point in 2020, including Boeing, General Dynamics, General Electric, Honeywell, Northrop Grumman, and Raytheon. All of those, except for General Electric, are probably problematic for somebody in that position. Ro Khanna has served on the House Armed Services Committee then, as he does now, in his 3rd term as a member of Congress. So didn't take long to corrupt his ass either. While Ritu Khanna, his wife, sold many of those stocks before 2021, she has made several 4- or 5-figure trades in Honeywell in 2021 so far. 2 more Democrats, Representatives Rick Larsen and Joe Morell of New York, both reported having less than $1,000 tied up in defense companies. Larsen's in his 11th term, doesn't hold any official leadership on the panel. Morell's 3rd term, but just got a seat on the Armed Services panel in January. His office did acknowledge the stock transaction to Insider, but did not provide a statement. Larsen's office did not respond. Republican Pat Fallon, again, 2nd time this motherfucker showing up on the list, secured a spot on the Armed Services panel, reported buying and selling up to $1.4 million worth of Boeing stock this year, much of it between January and April. Goodness. How the fuck can how can a guy on the Armed Services Committee have $1.4 million invested in Boeing?
What I don't get is I don't understand how this can even be fixed if they're just capable of gutting whatever laws are put in place to try and prevent it from happening.
Yeah, it can't. That's the point, right? It can't be fixed. So that's why nullification is going to be the new law of the land. You're seeing Gavin Newsom try it now with gun stuff in California. He wants to use the same type of nullification that Texas is using about abortion, but for guns in California. I don't know if he thinks that's poetic. It's certainly not going to work, but because while abortion is protected by the Supreme Court, it is not a constitutionally guaranteed right like gun ownership is. Those are 2 very different things, and they'll be adjudicated very differently in the courts as well, as you've seen so far. Like, this court is not at all the crazy, one-eyed, conservative lunatic that the fucking left thought it was going to be. It's been pretty down the middle on adjudicating these cases so far. And it didn't send that abortion case back to Texas because it agreed with their findings. It sent it back down because that's not the right way to do it. Just because something is morally right doesn't mean it's legally right. And their job is only to do things that are legally right. That is the entire purpose of that fucking branch. It is for Congress to make the morally right decision. Anyways.
Yeah, morality and legality don't overlap all that often.
No.
I mean, they should, but they don't.
Well, it's not. They're not meant to. That's not their job. That's like asking a screwdriver to hammer a nail in. You know what I mean? It's just not going to work out correctly. Let's see. Earlier this year, it was reported that Fallon failed to properly disclose dozens of stock transactions, together worth millions of dollars, which his spokesperson attributed to the congressman's unfamiliarity with federal conflict of interest laws. I don't think you can plead ignorance, right? Like, if you go into court, like, I didn't know I couldn't do that. I mean, it worked for Dave Chappelle's white friend at one time.
Yeah, I don't think not being aware of the law is actually a usable legal defense.
Yeah, doesn't seem like it.
I didn't know it was wrong to kill somebody.
Pat Fallon played football at Notre Dame, by the way. Let's see. Republican Senator Tommy Tuberville, again, we mentioned this earlier, reported owning nearly $200,000 worth of stocks in Honeywell, Lockheed Martin, General Electric, Raytheon, and General Dynamics. Tuberville's continued trading defense contracts during 2021. Most recently on October 18th of this year, right after the fucking Afghanistan bullshit, where he sold his stakes in General Dynamics and General Electric, worth up to $50,000.
And General Dynamics and GE are both real popular with these guys.
Yeah. Altogether, Tuberville's campaign received $89,100 in contributions from defense sector PACs and employees when he ran for office in 2020. Whether or not they were in leadership positions on the committees, all 15 lawmakers who have made investments in the defense industry all sit on the House and Senate panels responsible for writing the annual defense authorization bill that bankrolls the military personnel and subcontractors in their home districts, also assigns contracts. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, that's reductive to say that because there is a process for assigning contracts, but you can't help me believe without some kind of mind control device that there's not influence in that. I know for a fact there is.
I mean, there has to be.
Yes, we've used the influence before. So if there was any doubt in your mind at any point that Congress were a bunch of shitbag cunts, all of them, when I say all politicians are cunts, I mean every single last one of those motherfuckers. Every one of them. That is just how it is. And here's all the evidence you need right now. I'm sure you can look and find more. I would look into KKR a little deeper, and I probably will this weekend, and see what else they're into. But until then, we'll see you in hell.